Hey everybody, welcome back to my layout. This will be a layout update for January 2021. Let's take a look at what's new on the layout. So the biggest thing obviously from the intro there that we accomplished this last month on the layout was getting this first control point, Banff West. The signals are lit now and they're tied into an SC8C and then to the PanelPro. So we'll get to that in a second, but first, a couple people noticed last month when I had kind of did the overview of this bridge scene, they had a real sharp eye. So OTR Railroad and William Bryant both noticed that I didn't have safety rails, and I had just completely forgot to put them in on this bridge, and I had planned on doing them. I had bought some code 55 rail for my layout just for doing this type of thing. So I went ahead, as soon as I saw those comments, thank you guys, I went and made up some safety rails for this bridge. So let's take a quick look at those. So there's an overview of the bridge scene and the new safety rails that I put in there. I actually took the measurements using Google Earth's satellite pictures and the measuring tool. So these are 100% accurate to the prototype, you know, like probably within a foot or whatever. So I found it interesting. They actually extend quite a ways past either end of the bridge. Nothing fancy, it's just micro-engineering code 55 rail that I airbrushed kind of a rusty brown, and then I also put some rail joiners on it from Precision Design Company. Here's what they look like. This is the east end of the bridge. Kind of an ugly joint here, and I notice now that I zoom in with the camera, but that's where I actually had cut the original rail to pull the first bridge out of there. So this is my fix after the fact, but in the background here you can see the safety rails, and I bent them, you know, just working off prototype pictures. So I just used needle nose pliers and my Xuron rail nippers to bend them and kind of make them look like the prototype does. On CP, it's almost like they fold them down somehow. I'm not sure how they do that, but they bend the whole rail down. So I just used needle nose pliers to do that. And you can see the PDC code 55 joint bar there. Those look pretty awesome. There's the railroad west end of the bridge. You can see a couple more joint bars on there. I just put a few. They're not in the exact spots that the prototype was. I just noticed that it was not solid rail on the actual bridge. It's actually jointed, and they've got quite a few joint bars joining them together. And there's what it looks like looking from the west end of the bridge. So it's a good segue into our next thing that we got done, and that was getting these signals lit. So I've got them all lit and they're working, but I just haven't got them to the point where they're automated yet, like ABS style or CDC. I can control them with my laptop or with the Digitrax throttle and change them manually, but I can't get them automated yet. That's something I'm working on. And other people have told me this, but man, does it add a lot of realism to the layout once you get your signals working. Like, it just makes it so much more interesting. They just draw your eye, you know, you see those lit signal aspects just like you do on the real thing, and man, does it, for me anyway, makes it feel a lot more real. Here's the 821 highball, Banff West mainline for westbound trains. It's pretty awesome. Still a little bit bright. That you can see on the camera, the upper head looks a lot brighter, and I think that's just because it's the green diode, for whatever reason's brighter on these ones. I like the brightness, the kind of the lower head looks right, the upper one's a bit too bright in my opinion, so I might add some resistors yet. This is just using the resistors that come with those Digitrax SDK terminal strip mounting brackets. So these are just the standard resistors that come with that. So they're still a little bit bright. And the real thing, as you guys know, the signals, the light from them, especially off to the sides, not super bright. I would like it to be more like that, the bottom head in this image. So speaking of those terminal strip mounting kits, we'll just jump under the layout here quick. So this is over on the other side, close to Divide. This is the first SC8C that I installed. So you can see we got 3 cables. It's driving those 3 signals over there. I kind of overwired this when I was first designing the wiring layout for these signals, you know, 2 years ago or whatever. And I actually mistakenly ran this ribbon cable for every single mast. And you don't need to do that. You could get away with more signal masts on one ribbon, but I didn't realize that. And just for ease and clarity, I have some spare spaces on my SE8Cs, so I'm just going to use each signal ribbon for each signal mast. So this is how I installed the SE8C. So they've got 4 holes in them there, and what I'd like to do is I put little spacers just so that the control board's not sitting right against the wood. It's got all those soldered connections in the back. I never like to have electronics up against wood, so I've put spacers. My BDL 168, I've got spacers in here. So for the TSMKs as well, I've also put spacers in just to have a little, 1/8 or 1/4 inch gap in between the circuit board and the wood. So here we got the power coming down to the board. So I wired that just following the Digitrax instructions. It's just a Digitrax power supply. And then we've got our LocoNet cables here, so that one of them's coming from my booster and the other one's going to my laptop. So these run up into the roof and then they go across the layout above the aisle and drop down through the backdrop to the 3 signals over there at Banff. So I'll throw some pictures in of the TSMKs over there at Banff. So that SE8C we were looking at is just under there. The reason I did that is because right above it here is divide, and that is the most concentrated place of signals on my layout because it's got the single crossover there. So there's 2 3-headed signals and 2 2-headed signals. So if you follow the Digitrax instructions, you want your SE8C controllers as close as possible to the biggest kind of concentration of signal masts. So it's under there. So these 3 cables for Banff run up into the ceiling. They come across here, and then if we pan, they're coming down through this wall, which is a 2x2, and you can see here's the 822 signal. So if we hop under the layout here, we can take a look at that TSMK. So underneath here you can see there's the hole where the ribbon wire comes running down. Here's 40 Mile Creek, the plywood underneath it. Those 3 ribbon cables come out, and you can see right here, this is 822, and this is where the ribbon cable plugs into. Super simple. I really like this this Digitrax system. There's really not much to it. Basically, these TSMKs allow me to connect the magnet wire from my custom built signals. They have resistors already built into them, so I don't have to wire resistors into all 6 leads on these ones, which is nice. 9 leads on a triple head, and I've got a few of those coming up. Anyway, just zoom in a little bit so you can see that TSMK better. This one I had to get a little creative. Normally I like to mount them horizontal, but I didn't make my leads long enough. Even I made 9-inch leads. I didn't really factor in that the mast itself's like 3 inches tall. So now you only got a 6-inch lead, and then in this particular part of the layout, there's like 4 inches of foam terrain. So I ended up being a little short with my leads, so I put this on edge just so that it was easier to reach those magnet wires. And you can see I always like to mark the milestones underneath the layout, so there's hidden writing all over the place in this layout. So we had first lit signal on the layout, 2020, 12/23. So right before Christmas, that's when I got this one working. Pretty dark under here, you can't really see it, but there's the magnet wires coming down from the mast. So there's 8 magnet wires, and they're all tied into this TSMK, which then provides the resistors and a place to connect the ribbon cable for. So if they follow that LocoNet cable over here from the SE8C, you can see it's plugged into this local buffer USB and then to my laptop, and I'm running JMRI PanelPro here. So this is my layout basically for this whole portion of the CP side. So we got all the detection here you can see right now. It's not working 100. I don't have it 100% working right. It should be showing detection in this crossover here right now. So this is basically the line diagram for the whole layout. So I do have most of the detection working. I'm still working out the bugs and learning this program, but you can see 2 blocks are occupied right now. Oh, that one just cleared because the DPU just cleared that block. So you can see this train's moving through. It's on the south track, eastbound, and it's headed towards Lake Louise here at the switch. So most of the detection's working, and I can also control the signals from here. So you can just go change aspect, and you can give a clear signal here. and I can give a stop signal at Banff East. So here we've got signals lined up properly for Banff West. Still a work in progress. I haven't been able to get it to automate, like I was saying before, so that's it's been a real steep learning curve. This isn't a super easy program for me to learn. I've kind of customized this display to look like CP's CTC program. So a black background tracks white, occupied is red, so it's pretty cool doing that kind of stuff. And that's something I'm going to keep working on here in the winter months, is trying to get this thing automated to a point where I can just click a switch and it'll either, it'll align the route, and also the signals will be correct. You can also, there's a way to do it, I haven't figured it out yet, but you can run just automatic block signaling if you want. So I think that'd be pretty cool too, to just have it automated depending on where it's detecting the locomotives, or in my case it's just detecting where power's being drawn. So it could be a caboose or a passenger car, anything. An end of train device like a Fred flasher would also trigger the detection. So pretty cool that way. This train eastbound, he's just about to go through the switch here, so we'll see. So you see that yellow dot lit up there underneath that switch, and then you saw the next block is showing occupied now. So I still got to get the switch to light up red, because it should light up red too, but those little yellow lights are the actual, they're tied to the detection on the BDL 168. So it's pretty cool stuff. It's been fun learning it. See here, this guy's waiting for he's got a stop signal at Banff. I notice I've got a upper head on my dwarf signals out there, so I gotta go underneath. Been having trouble with the common connection on that one. I'll have to go under there and see what's going on with it. So that'll wrap up this layout update, guys. So next month, more cold weather. Gonna be hoping to continue working on these signals. Hopefully I can get the automated portion of PanelPro working. It's kind of my goal for the next month, as well as crank out enough trees to finish off the Banff portion here. So this section of the layout, I think it's about 32 feet long, and I'm pushing 300 trees now, so I don't know exactly what the count is at, but I'll include that in the video info, what the updated tree count is. But yeah, I'm going to probably need at least, I don't know, another couple hundred for sure, if not 500 more trees to finish this portion of the layout, because there's these sections of the wooded area here, and then back behind the station over here, there's quite a big section of trees as well. So that's what I'll be working on. Cranking out lots of trees and working on the signals. So, as always, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.